you start off on a trip like this, you all start off not knowing each other very well. Now, 4 of us on this Africa trip had travelled together before, so you sort of feel that bond. It's almost like family. You don't necessarily have to like each other all the time, but there's sort of, I suppose love's a airy-fairy word, but there's sort of that bond or love between you all that you know if one of you got into trouble, the rest of you would all rally round. Dave and Gareth and myself have travelled together right since the beginning, and we sort of look upon him as being just absolute loyal. He's soul to the earth sort of person, and if things got tough, you feel that he'd be there.
Dave, I think Dave had 2 sides. Either had a very serious side where he was the driving force on making sure that we got up and got going in the morning.
Oh yum, bacon and eggs again.
Every morning there was hands off cocks, on with socks was Dave's favourite saying. And if we weren't up and out precisely at 7:30, you would get the frown from Dave Wallace, you were late. The other side of Dave was at the end of the day when we finally had got to where we were and it was time to have a couple of beers and relax and sort of just enjoy ourselves. There were many times that we ended up in different streets and different bars, and he certainly was the fun and the laughter of the party.
This trip we had Paul with us too, and Paul's a absolute top, been a competitive bike rider, off-road riding, and I think Paul especially, when I fell off in the first couple of deep sandy patches, thought, oh God, what have we brought with us?
Paul was also the new kid on the block, so we quite often would have these discussions at the front end, like, are we doing the right thing? Are we adding value to this trip? And I know Paul took it upon him to actually be the #1 mechanic.
He was such a wonderful part of the group, and he brought such great skills with his mechanical skills.
He took it upon himself to basically check the bikes out almost every day.
Yeah, we're going for #1.
#1?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And there was Tony. Tony's a Wellingtonian, and he was fantastic with technology things and had all the gizmos and toys, and Gareth and Tony were as thick as thieves when it came to running all the technology and getting the information back home.
Well, I guess I've always sort of been into motorcycling from a very young boy's point of view. At sort of 12, 13, I had trail bikes down in the South Island, so most of my riding was sort of off-road around the North Otago, Canterbury area. Our first lesson in looking after our equipment, stopped here to see if we can fix Brennan's bike, and while Paul and myself were standing outside, one of the locals decided to try and get into one of the panniers or tank bag. So a couple of choice words in the local dialect and he was gone.
Do they understand that local dialect?
They understand the local dialect very well. There's a couple of common words that seem to be universal in all languages. I've not been a great on-road rider, so for me to step up to an adventure like this was quite something. So quite daunting actually. I was initially, I feared my abilities to be able to ride the distance of Africa, and in particular with a bunch of people that were experts in riding these sorts of adventures.
It's called a Bagabi haircut.
He's a really social animal, he's a party animal, so he's always great to have along whenever we decided to go out exploring a new town. Floyd came along from Cape Town to Addis Ababa. He flew out of Addis and came back home at that stage. And really, we had this agreement with him, if he did decide to come, by the time we got up Ethiopia, we knew the roads would be getting a lot harder, and we didn't think Gareth would be able to take a pillion through some of the sandy areas. But taking a pillion through half of Africa was an absolute amazing achievement, for Gareth. They didn't even fall off.
Here's Brennan, quick.
Tony's looking forward to this. Will be his first real day. He's going to be riding down a road he's never ridden down before in his life, and he doesn't know where he's going to be staying tonight, what he's going to be eating, who he's going to be sleeping with, nothing. He's into it.
The sleeping bit sounds interesting. And Paul, do you got anything to add to today? I like your beer you've got on you.
Yes, I might share one with you if you play your game right tonight and sleep with the right people.
We've sort of got this core group. Brendan, who's also been on the last few trips with us too, and he did the Silk Road with us. He's actually the local bike shop person, knows a lot about bikes.
Paul is just filling up over in the background. Managed to put 17 litres into his BMW today. And apparently that's about the size of a tank, isn't it, Brendan?
17.5 litres is manufacturer's capacity, so he was sailing close to the wind.
We had, in fact, between Brendan and Paul, we had probably, and Dave, they were the three top people that were the experts when it came to the mechanical side of the motorbikes. In fact, I think there was a bit of a competition there on who was the more senior mechanic.
I've just been to the market and I've found myself a new bride, so we're off. We're heading north up this road. Her village is 12 kilometres away, so we'll be there shortly. She asked me to go poli-poli, so see you there.